All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another Zoids review. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Kotobukiya HMM Liger Zero Empire version. Originally, this kit was released as a Kotobukiya store exclusive in Japan. It was pretty difficult to get your hands on. It was sold out relatively quickly. So we had to wait a few months later for the Markings Plus version to be announced. This one was announced sort of as a tie-in with the release of the Liger Zero X HMM, because they do have some tie-in in terms of their lore and their sort of compatibility. So I like this guy quite a bit. It was actually my very first time building the HMM Liger Zero myself. I do have the original, one of the many various reissues of the generic white HMM Liger Zero, but I didn't build that one myself. It was already pre-built when I got it, and it also came pre-built with the Jaeger customized parts kit and the Panzer one, and I purchased the reissue Markings Plus version of the Schneider, built that, did a video on it. You guys know the rest is history. So the thing about the Empire version of the Liger Zero, it is just a recolor of the original. In the original 1999 NJR version of the motorized Zoids, this was released as part of the Liger Zero X, and the same thing with the Hasbro release. If you purchased the Liger Zero X, it would be the skeleton of the Liger Zero underneath, and then it had two different armor sets that would come with it. It had this armor color right here, and in addition to the Liger Zero X customized parts that could go over it. So in terms of the lore, how this works is, in the battle story, the Liger Zero was a prototype actually being developed by the Gylos Empire. And in a scene that most of you are probably familiar with at this point, if you have looked at the box art or have read up on the lore at all, you see this on the box art of the HMM Shield Liger DCSJ, which is where the character Ray Gregg bursts into this Gylos Empire production facility and sees the prototype Liger Zero being worked on there, and they manage to steal the prototype and bring it back to the Helic Republic, where the generic white Helic Republic Liger Zero was then manufactured from that prototype. Luckily, the Gylos Empire still had quite a bit of data from their original prototype available, so shortly thereafter they were able to continue production on their own version of the Liger Zero, which is where we get this version in this color, the Empire Liger Zero. And one of the things that makes the Liger Zero special, as you guys should be very familiar with, is the CAS system, the changing armor system. And this allows it to be sort of modular and customizable and fit a variety of different roles. So the box standard version here is basically a nice blank slate. It can be equipped with a huge variety of different weapons, as we see in the Zoids Versus games, the Battle Legends games. It can be equipped with lots of different powerful weapons, including the beam cannons from the Red Horn. It can be equipped with the long-range rifle from the Command Wolf. It can even be equipped with the double sniper rifle from the Koenig Wolf, so it is really incredibly versatile. I think it can even be equipped with a Gatling unit from a Red Horn or Dark Horn as well. Ray Gregg then decided to begin using the Liger Zero as his primary Zoid, and it was deployed in battle. By the time the Empire deployed their own Liger Zeros as well, they also had the Liger Zero X as their CAS system they were able to equip it with, which was a lot more powerful than, the Jaeger or the Schneider or anything like that, because it was a lot more versatile. So the Liger Zero X is definitely the ultimate form of that. So I do have the Hasbro release of the Liger Zero X, which I've talked about, and then of course the way that this was released, like I said, is when this was released, you could buy it just like this, and you could buy the Liger Zero X CAS armor customized parts kit as its own separate thing. So all you got was the armor, and you could just interchange the armor from this guy into that. Or you could buy the Liger Zero X as its own kit, which is what I opted to do, because I really love this color scheme on the Liger Zero. I prefer it to the standard white version. And so I bought this entire separate kit. I'm hoping to be able to outfit it with a nice weapon. Looking at the way it's designed, you kind of do have to detach the boosters from the back to be able to equip a weapon to it. But I'm hoping that, because the HMM Koenig Wolf is out now, which is the next HMM I'm going to be building, by the way, that the dual sniper rifle will be able to be equipped to this thing, and I may just buy another double sniper rifle customized parts kit so that I can have this guy permanently with one of those weapons. I think that would be really, really cool. and it would definitely give it its own unique place in my collection among the other HMMs. And this guy will kind of go along with the Koenig Wolf and the Liger Zero X up there on the very top shelf of my HMM bookshelf, up there with the Iron Kong Yeti as well. Whenever I finally get around to building him, I'm so intimidated to build the Iron Kong Yeti, it's not even funny. Most of you guys are pretty familiar with the Liger Zero from the anime because it is, the staple protagonist Zoid for both New Century Zero and Fuser, so I don't really intend to go into that much here. But I would like to mention that it was recently announced that we are getting a Kotobukiya HMM Liger Zero Phoenix, which is really cool, which means that probably the bog standard Liger Zero is getting another reissue. And this doesn't necessarily even have to be an anime tie-in to Fusers, because the Liger Zero Phoenix was seen in the battle story during the Fusers timeline as well as the final and ultimate CAS system, whatever you want to call it, for the Liger Zero towards the end of the battle story. So there is a precedent for the Liger Zero Phoenix to exist in the battle story, and so the HMM version of that doesn't have to worry about anime copyright or anything like that. So we should be getting that here hopefully within the next year or so. There are some prototype photos of it out there. I don't think we have any photos of it in color yet, nor do we have a pre-release or like a pre-order window or anything available yet. But that's going to be really exciting. So hopefully we'll get the same treatment where we get the bog standard Liger Zero reprinted one more time, and we get the Phoenix system as a parts kit you can also buy separately, or you can just buy the Liger Zero Phoenix in a complete package like this. There was also the Bandai version of the Liger Zero that was released recently, and the armor sets, the CAS armor sets for that were released this past year. So the Bandai version has a very different take on the Liger Zero. It was sort of a collaborative thing for the Zoids 40th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, where instead of having Kotobukiya or Takara Tomy develop the Zoid, they gave it over to the Gunpla engineers over at Bandai to have their own take on the Zoid. And I think that one has been received fairly well by a lot of fans. I do not have my hands on it, but I'm pretty sure my friend Brad, a fellow collector of mine, has that one. And so if I have an opportunity to get my hands on his copy at his collection and kind of play around with it, see how I feel about it, I'll definitely be willing to talk about it there. So a little bit more on this guy. I want to talk about the construction and the build quality of the HMM Liger Zero now that I've had time to build this one myself. So I was pleasantly surprised. It was very forgiving compared to some other HMMs. And I think if you want one of the larger size class HMMs to start with, it's not a bad one to go with. And chances are it is the first one that most people built when they were getting into HMMs, because it is the, protagonist ace Zoid, so to speak. My overall build with this was incredibly smooth. I had the head and the torso, like all three segments of the torso, done very quickly. That was a very, 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 very simple build. The limbs took a little bit longer, and then I was actually pretty surprised with how long the armor took to build. So I had the full thing assembled, all four of his limbs, tail, everything, the naked underneath skeleton before any of the customized parts, CAS armor systems get equipped to it. And that's the bulk of the build, but I was quite surprised at how the armor is not just like, slap a piece on there. There's a lot of individual pieces that combine together to make the armor pieces. For instance, this knee pad back here is like 4 separate pieces per knee pad, and this one down here is like 2 different pieces. And then even these right here, there's an inner piece that connects to the inside of the armor plate that has the actual peg on it that you need to insert it into the top of the armor there. One thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is how it's not the easiest thing in the world to remove this armor, and I get that they wanted it to be pretty sturdy, which is nice, but I remember taking the white armor off of my standard one to equip the Jaeger, the Panzer, and the Schneider to do those videos on that. Parts tend to come off more so than you want them to, and there was a moment where I had forgotten a piece right in here where my finger is on the face of the Liger Zero Empire here. And when I tried to take off the red panel that runs along the side here, which you're supposed to be able to easily do as part of changing the armor system, the entire side of his face came out. And I had a really, really, really hard time getting his front teeth back in there. The piece right here that represents the front teeth on the Liger Zero, one of the most pain in the ass pieces on the entire kit. It is incredibly frustrating. It sits in there just perfectly, and it requires both of the other 2 sets of teeth to really be in there for it to stay in there very securely. It is very annoying. I mentioned this in the recent Blade Liger video that I did, but I'm very relieved at the fact that the feet on this guy are actually like sensibly designed and normal, because the feet on the Blade Liger, it's like each individual toe is 3 pieces. So you have like the little rubber socket pin that goes at the back, which you need to like force a pin through each toe along the way. And then each individual toe is like two pieces like clamshell together. It's very, very silly. Whereas here it's just like a top and a bottom, and all 4 like toes kind of just snap together. It's super easy. One thing that I couldn't wait to talk about in this video that I thought was so funny about the build and engineering of specifically the Liger Zero Empire here. So this Liger Zero Empire, same exact price, same exact size box as the box standard white Liger Zero, but it does come with more pieces. And the reason for that comes down to the way they do the molding for the different colors. So obviously they have to cast an entire runner in, they do like the, mold injected, whatever, however they do the plastic, and they have to do the entire runner in the same color. Only in more recent years has Bandai, for instance, developed some technology for model kits like the Bandai Star Wars ships, where they can have different color plastic on the same runner, but generally an entire runner is one color because that's just how they mold them. So because this is the same mold, same engineering, same tooling as the original, you have the armor set where it's like, okay, all of the armor is supposed to be white, right? So in order to have some of the armor pieces be gold and some of them be red, they had to give you 2 entire separate runners of identical pieces, each in gold and red respectively. So in theory, you could have an all gold Liger Zero or an all red Liger Zero with the pieces they give you. And I think that's really cool. It's just an unintended consequence of them trying to save on costs, like R&D costs. And I'm sure that they did not want to like redesign all the engineering on this just to be able to have the pieces be the correct color. So it was probably easier from a manufacturing standpoint to be like, you know what, just give them 2 copies of the same sheet, the same runner in the 2 different colors. And I just find that really funny. Also, I had a very, very hard time with this. I thought it was really funny. You may notice as well on the box, especially that his lower jaw is black. And the instructions were telling me to look for a particular runner with a particular number on it, as you do when you're trying to find a specific piece. And I couldn't find it. And I said, this is really strange. I looked all through my pieces, couldn't find the black lower jaw or anything. But I saw what was clearly the lower jaw piece in gold, and I said, what is going on here? Are the instructions just wrong? Am I missing a piece? I don't understand what's going on. So I put the golden lower jaw on there, which I actually think looks better than the black one. It matches the rest of his head a lot better, and I feel like the black would kind of break up the silhouette of him a little bit more, and I wouldn't really appreciate that. So I like that I have it in gold. But when I was separating more of the runners and taking them out of the box, I found an entirely separate runner like this big with just the one piece on it to give you the black lower jaw. And that's the only thing on that one runner. And I thought it was really funny. I'm like, well, no wonder I didn't see it, because it was sandwiched between 2 giant runners that run the entire length of the box. That's why I didn't initially see it. But I was like, well, I'm not going to use it now because I already put the golden lower jaw on there, and I think that looks better anyway. So I just thought that was very funny, and that some of the design of this guy has some really funny unintended consequences as a result of it being a, recolor of this box standard Liger Zero with some different, because it has different colors and uses the same engineering. There's some unintended consequences of that I find very funny. But yeah, overall, it was a really solid build. Can't complain. It wasn't all that difficult, and I do recommend it to newcomers. This guy is probably still pretty available out there. Again, this is the mass-produced version. This is not the Kotobukiya store exclusive one. The Liger Zero X is still pretty easy to find out there. I have seen in the wild. There's a couple of local hobby stores around me that actually have it fit the US localized import version, like in stock. And so you can actually go and buy it at the physical store, or you can import it from online like I did. You may notice as well that I did not put in the little vent cover. Like you can see it right here on the box art. There's like a little piece right here that goes in there. I may add that later, but they weren't staying in very well, so I decided just to skip those for all four. I don't think it really matters too much. But yeah, you should be able to find this guy out there for pretty cheap. I wouldn't overpay for him. I wouldn't pay probably more than like $60, $70-ish before, any kind of import shipping, or, counting for import markup at local places here in the US. And if you can, get this guy and get the Liger Zero X customized parts kit as well, would be really cool. Or if you want to get them both separately, that's totally fine. Next, of course, I'm going to be building the HMM Koenig Wolf. I'm super, super looking forward to that. And I will test and see if the double sniper rifle fits on his back and looks decent. So really, really love this guy. I think the color is highly superior to the base white version, although he's not really, probably doesn't look that good in combination with the other customized parts kits. And so the standard white version does have some appeal there because it, looks better with the Jaeger, the Schneider, the Panzer, etc. So, but anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.